Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday to everyone. I am super excited to be popping in here this week, the third week of August, to share with you the cards that I have made with the Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper and the project that I have been working on for Klompen Stampers, being the featured August Artisan Crafter. I have had so much fun making so many scrapbooking layouts and cards with this beautiful designer series paper. So I can't wait to get started and actually walk you through how I made these cards. So if you have been following me this month, you'll remember that last week I shared how to make these 2 pages right here. And then the week before, I shared how to make the other pages that I have in my hands. Let me just get this lined up for you. So I shared how to make this one. And then the week before that, I walked you through how to do this. Now there's a third layout, and there's 2 more cards that I'll be sharing next week that I've finally been able to share. I can't wait. But oh my word, you guys, this paper collection with the coordinating stamp set and dies and these beautiful adhesive back textured dots are so fabulous. And it just was a beautiful way for me to commemorate my daughter's senior pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and put these off to the side. Sorry about my cat in the background. She decided that she wants to play right now. So you're going to hear her little mouse squeaking. But I'm going to move in these cards so that you can see them. And we're going to go ahead and make them. And I hope I have all of the pieces. I do. Pre-cut so we can just go in a row. In fact, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just make it a lot simpler here. Sometimes I make sharing a little bit more complicated than it is. But I wanted to explain to you that there is a guide that I've created. It is not only a cutting guide, but also step-by-step instructions on how to assemble not only all the cards, but also the 3 layouts. And I'm really proud of myself because I haven't made a cutting guide for scrapbooking in a very long time. So I took a leap of faith and decided to make one. And so it's really beautiful. So when you spend $75 on my website in the month of August, you will get the guide sent to you. And it can be anything. You don't have to buy any of the Wildly Flowering pieces. You can buy anything on my website for $75 before tax and shipping. And I will send you this beautiful guide that will make just some really beautiful projects. So I wanted to also highlight in the catalog, I'm not sure if you noticed on page 22 of the annual catalog, there are some really awesome templates, card ideas, sketches, if you'll call them. And I really liked these so much that someone, and I don't know who did it, so if you created this measurement on these, kudos to you and thank you for sharing them with all the other Stampin' Up demonstrators. These are the patterns that I followed to make these cards. So this one right here is this one. Now my cutting guide is a little bit different because I made these match what I needed for the pieces of extra designer series paper and cardstock that I had left over. So although these walk you through and give you measurements, mine are a little bit different. And so that's why it's great to have my guide, because you'll get the exact measurements that I used. So I'm just bringing in all of my pieces that I need, some foam tape, some dimensionals that are sticking to me. This is the stamp set and the dies that I used. I've got them mounted on blocks right over here. In fact, I've got a few more that I pulled from my stash to make it a little bit easier because not all of these matched the way I wanted them to. And I'm going to bring in a couple smaller blocks. And let's get this one on a better one. I think it'll be a lot easier to use. And I'll just mount that one on there. Okay, so I'm just going to move these off to the side. Many of these are already pre-stamped and ready to go. I wanted to slow down that process, but these are the inks that I used in this. And again, everything is listed on my website, and I will link that below, all of the pieces and products that I used. But these are the ink pads that I am using. And we're going to go ahead and start with this one. So I'm really loving taking basic white cardstock and creating my own card bases. We didn't have that at Close to My Heart. And so I really like having that option of being able to just take an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, cut it twice, and you've got 2 card bases. And this Wild Wheat is like one of my favorite colors. Oh my goodness, I love this color. And that designer series paper is just so beautiful. I am so attracted to the blue hues. And then we're just going to take this piece and mount it off to the far right, just like that. And then I did stamp these already in Wild Wheat and then cut them out. And we're going to attach those under the banners. And espresso is another, the early espresso is again another one of my favorite colors. Oh my word, I could have everything in this color. So we are just going to put that one just like that. I'm going to stagger these little guys just like so. You can do them the reverse the way I had it, or you can do it this way. And then I'm just taking some dimensionals and putting them right onto my title banner, sentiment banner. And this one is going to get staggered just like that. And then we're going to bring in these amazing dots. Love that they already have adhesive on them. And I'm just going to lift them up with my scissors. We're going to put 2 down here, a large one and a small one. Just like that. And then take another large one right there. Hello, Elsbells. She's like, I want to make a card today. And then we're going to take one more small one and put that one over here. Just like that. Okay, there is, this is card number 3 in the series of the guide. Okay, so this is card number 3. So I'm going to set this one off to the side. This is card number 4, and I already tied the bow. And this is another little trick and tip that I love sharing with people, because my grandmother was a seamstress. She made so many of my clothing growing up, and she taught me how to tie the perfect bow so that it lays flat every time. So you take your loop and you take this and you go from the back to the front and bring it around, and then it forces the ribbon to lay flat every time. And then you can just turn your loops the way you want them. But do you see how it forces that ribbon to lay flat and it doesn't pucker up? So that's how you tie the perfect bow. And I already went ahead and did my own for my card because I didn't want to waste the time doing that. So I'm going to just put these pieces off to the side. We need to do some stamping right down here. You've been on my mind. And so I'm going to put this right down here in the corner with the espresso. I'm going to stamp it ever so gently. You all know that I am a very messy stamper, but I am loving the cling stamps because they are so detailed, and these ink pads are so juicy. You really truly just need to tap just a little bit, and then we're going to just go right down here, hold it there for a few seconds and lift up. It's absolutely perfect. I'm going to just wipe that off so that it is clean, and then we are going to go ahead and close that pad. I'm becoming an expert at those. Practice makes better, right? And I love this crumb cake. Do you see those flecks of, it almost looks like flecks of espresso in here. I love this paper, the cardstock. It is so beautiful. I am really, really loving these Stampin' Up! Products. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the ribbon under here. So guess what? We're going to just gently lift this up, and we're going to slide this ribbon right underneath, because that is what I needed to tell you to do. So let's just get this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to peel this off, and we're going to do this in just a minute after I get these pieces on. I got ahead of myself, but let's go ahead and line these up. This is the Designer Series paper, and you know what? I stamped that a little bit too low, and because I already have adhesive on here, so let's see, what can we do to fix this? Well, not a whole lot. Should have stamped that one a little bit lower. These need to go in here like this. Okay. Okay, I fixed it. So now we're going to go ahead and get these attached. And they're gonna kind of come down just a little bit, but not too far that they touch the sentiment. I'm going to take those two pieces of Early Espresso, and I like to just take my adhesive and run them over like that. And then the other one that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this one on just so that I can see where I want it. Just like that. Whoops, let's get this a little bit straighter, Holly. And I'm gonna move that in just like that. And it does touch just a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm gonna set this down just like that. We're gonna go ahead and get this one on. And if you have to lift them up and move them where you need them, you absolutely can do that. And there is the last one. Now these aren't as straight as I want them to be, so I'm gonna just lift these up and just move them ever so carefully. That's the great thing about watching me do this, is that you get to learn what not to do and what to do. So we're gonna just stick that in there just like that. There we go. Okay, I am happy with that. It's not perfect, but you know what? We're gonna just let it be. Maybe not. I might have to adjust it one more time. That's the one thing about doing this on camera, is that I tend to make lots of mistakes, and you get to watch me kind of figure it all out. So I'm gonna just move that one over again. And I do like to attach my cards at on an angle, just so that I can make sure that they are lined up the way I want them to be. So I'm gonna come back in here, line that back up. This one does take a little bit more time just because of all of these pieces. But I think that is a lot better. It's not perfect, but it's much more spaced correctly. Okay, so now we can attach the bow, now that this is not stuck on. And we want this to kind of come over here to the side. And I'm gonna just kind of move it with my fingers in the position that I want it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take my snips and trim this off, just like that. I'm gonna trim this tail off a little bit too. I don't want it quite as long. Perfect. Okay, now let's get that little piece of paper that's sticking out right there. Let's just trim him off. And now I can attach this. And I'm going to put this right here in the center, just like that. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals and pop this with it. And take that and just attach it just like that. And now all we need to do is attach those adhesive back texture dots. So we're going to put a big one over here. Whoops, we need some adhesive on it. He just literally fell off. Okay, let's learn another trick. We're going to just turn that little guy over, get it back on the dot. Let's come up underneath it and see if that'll come off. Yep, I think it did. So we want one right here, another large one over here, and this one right like that. Okay, thanks for being patient with me on that one. This was card number 4. If you're following along in the guide. Okay, this is card number 5. This one is going to be really fun because we are going to do the stamping in wild wheat and then early espresso. So I'm going to grab this piece that I made a mess of, and we're going to just use that as our background. And I need to get wild wheat over here. And we are going to take this image, which I believe I call this the medium flower. And we're just going to stamp it on this banner. And we want a little bit right there. And then we're going to lift up, turn it, and we're going to stamp off right there. Okay? And I'm going to clean that off. Let me clean that up too. Nothing like having dirty stamps when you're stamping, right? Okay, and now we're going to stamp in the early espresso, the thank you. And again, you don't have to tap it very hard. And this is going to go right there. Perfect. Okay, gonna close that. So I know I just showed you earlier all of the ink colors. Wild wheat is also one of them, so I apologize for that. Okay, let's go ahead and now we can assemble this. Got all of my pieces here. This one is pretty clean and simple. I already attached that accidentally when I was putting these together. So that is already attached. And again, this is a wild wheat piece. And I love how the Moody Mauve matches wild wheat. It's just such a beautiful color to go together. And then I did use foam to pop this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some dimensionals on here and get that elevated. And this is going to go just like that in the center. And then we're going to attach these 2 banner pieces, and then we're going to put foam tape dimensionals right here on the outer edge so that it can be elevated. So I'm going to attach these right here. And this is going to go just like that. And then all we need to do is take 4 of the large adhesive back, and we're going to attach them up here and on the bottom. Absolutely love how simple this card is, truly. Stamps, ink, and paper, right? Sip. Doesn't get any easier than that. And I mean, the possibilities are endless with this pattern. Whoops. Love that. So simple. Okay, card 5. And now we are moving on to card 6. This is the final one. And I already ran the embossing folder through with the Mossy Meadow cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and attach this. I just love that texture that gives. It's just a little bit. And that's all you need on this. And then this one is going to be really fun to do because we are going to do a lot of stamping on this. And I loved this in the catalog. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, I have to recreate this. So if you're looking in the catalog on page 40, absolutely loved this design. And I can't tell if they embossed that Mossy Meadow cardstock, but I thought it needed to be embossed. And so we are going to do all of this random stamping right now, and then we'll do our sentiment across. And mine's a little bit different than the catalog, which is always fun. So we're going to go ahead and let's take the Wild Week first. And I like to just random stamp starting with my larger images first, and then you know where to fill in with everything else. So that's going to go right there. And then this one is going to come down here. And then we're going to take the Mossy Meadow, and we're going to do, I call this the double flower. So we're going to just stamp him next and try not to hit that one. And then we're going to come up here and stamp this one. And then we are going to take that medium flower and we're going to use the Misty Moonlight. And that one is more in this space right here. And then this one, we're gonna just kind of come over here and just stamp off right in there. You don't see a lot of this, which is good because you can tell I didn't do a very good job stamping that one, but it's all good. Okay, now this one is that background stamp that I absolutely love. And we are now going to go in and fill in all of this empty space down in here. And you can turn it as much as you want. That's one thing I love about this, is that it's just the perfect background. And that really is all there is to it. Okay, and then let's stamp in Early Espresso. You've been on my mind, and that's this one right here. I'm going to gently tap that in there so that I don't get ink everywhere. And then I'm going to line this up right here in the center. Just hold that so that the ink can absorb into the cardstock, which it did beautifully. And then I'm going to wipe these off really quickly, just so that I don't accidentally hit them. Get some of the ink off on my fingers. It wouldn't be a stamping video without me getting ink everywhere, right? Okay, this one's super easy to assemble too. We're gonna pop it with some dimensionals. It just gives it that little bit of elevation that it needs. And then this one is also just a really simple SIP card, stamps, inks, and paper. Okay, we're going to mount this right here on the center, whoops, of this piece, right like that. Love that Designer Series paper. Oh my goodness. And then this is going to go, let's bring it down a little bit because then it covers up the bad stamping that I did. Just like that, and then we're just going to add these adhesive back textured dots, and we are done. My friends, thank you so much for sticking with me. We're going to just kind of fill in these empty spaces with these, whoops, as they jump everywhere. Just like that. And then let's put some down in here. I think over here on this side. Just like this. Kind of draws your eye in another direction, right? And let's let's do, you know what, let's do the smaller one first, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to put the last one. Whoops, and he keeps jumping off. So let's do that one there, and then you know what, let's put the other one right over here in this space, right like that. There you go. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for allowing me to be imperfect when I stamp and assemble. And then I'm going to drop down 2 more videos in this corner down over here. There is the first layout that I shared a couple weeks ago, which is layout number 2. And then last week, I'm going to drop down in this corner layout number 3. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, you guys, and thank you for letting me be a part of your crafting journey today. Have a great rest of your day.